Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Yvette and I'm back with another video. If your first time seeing me, my name is Yvette Martinez. I'm a nurse in New York City and I create nursing and lifestyle content here on YouTube for fun. And I am recently now on TikTok, so I will put my TikTok handle somewhere around here so you guys can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. So I've got some news for my YouTube family that's been following me since the beginning and knows that I've been filming with my phone and I've been filming like with a stack of books and setting my phone on top of it and having like a flashlight somewhere or like just relying on my window. I finally got myself a little mini setup. I have now a ring light. I'm still filming on my phone, but I'm in the works of getting a camera and like really just diving right into my YouTube career. I'm so excited about this. Lots of big things are coming soon and I'm so glad that I get to share it with you guys. So I'm coming to you today with a highly requested video. I've gotten tons and tons of questions from you guys since I posted my last frequently asked questions about Pace University's ABSN program. I've gotten like 20 million more questions to answer. And I think that I've got a really good batch. I want to start this video off by saying congratulations on getting into Pace University's ABSN program. You're about to enter a wild ride and I am so excited for you. I think that this is going to be a great experience for you. It's going to make you into a better person, into a grand nurse, and I can't wait for you guys to hurry up and get through the program so you guys can graduate and get out there and be amazing nurses, okay? If you guys see me looking like straight back all weird, it's because I have my iMac monitor behind my camera and I have all the questions blown up in the back so that I can like kind of see and answer questions at the same time. You get what I'm saying. The first question is, do you think you can work at all during the program? The answer is yes. I had many of my fellow cohort students, I guess you would call them fellow classmates. My fellow classmates were working during the program. It is really difficult because it's almost set up like a regular job, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. If you're not in lecture, you're going to be in clinical and it's for long, long hours. So it's really hard to manage work, lecture, homeworks, and studying for exams. However, if you time manage really, really well, you can do both. I don't see why not. You have to provide for your families or for yourselves and you got to do what you got to do. Second question is, do you think the clinical placements are good? So I can't really answer this question very well because I went to Pace University during pandemic time, 2020 into 2021. And we were stuck with what we were stuck with, which was online clinical because the hospitals were not allowing us to go to clinical on site. So unfortunately, I can't tell you if the clinical placements are good or if they're not good. It's just, I'm sorry. The third question is, what was the hardest class? So for me, all the classes were pretty difficult. However, I think that pediatrics stood out to me the most as the most difficult, and that's because it's weird. So when you learn things in pediatrics, you might learn things for a specific age group that are acceptable, and then when you move on to the next age group, that thing that you thought was acceptable was no longer an acceptable answer. So then you get questions wrong because you start to confuse the age groups and things like that, and for me, that was really annoying. And that's why I found it difficult, just because the material changes with the age groups as you go through the course. The fourth question is, what is the best way to study? And I think that this question is very subjective. So if you study very well with textbooks, I would grab the textbook. If you study really well visually with videos and audio, do videos on YouTube like registerednursern.com. I know I've talked about her on my channel quite a bit, and Simple Nursing as well. I've talked about his stuff on my channel quite a bit. Also, if you're visual but like to read, but like graphics and things like that, I recommend study guides. So study guides such as the Simple Nursing study guides, or I create my own study guides on rnadvanced.com. I will throw the link down in the description box for you guys. I do make them per order now. I haven't had the time to just sit down and make a bunch of them. So if you guys are having an exam coming up and need study guides for it, I will create them based on what you guys tell me that you need. For example, if you guys need antibiotics, I will make an antibiotic study guide bundle for you guys and post it up on my website so you guys can have access to it. The best way that I used to study was very visual audio. So I would re-listen to the lectures quite a bit. And I would use the PowerPoints and take notes on the PowerPoints during the lecture. So then when I was re-listening to the lecture, I could really go in with a fine-tooth comb and figure out what I understood and what I didn't understand. And then if I didn't understand something, I would go to YouTube and find like a simple nursing video or a registered RN video, and just to clear up anything else. If I really didn't understand that, then I would turn to the textbook. But for me, the textbook was like absolute last resort. Like if you could save your money on textbooks, I would save the money on textbooks. Okay, my fifth question is, what is one thing you wish you knew before starting the program? Guys, I have so many things that I wish that I knew. I could make a whole separate video about stuff that I wish that I knew before I went to nursing school. But I think the one thing that I wish I would have known, you know, it's so hard to just pick one. So I'll give you a few. A few things that I wish that I knew before going into PACE ABSN program is, I wish I would have known how much I didn't need the textbooks like I was just talking about. Or how much these Prep U study questions that they give us to do are not helpful. And so not waste your time studying with those Prep U questions. I also wish I knew how to time manage so I could have free time. Actually, that one's the biggest one. I wish that I knew how to time manage better so that I had time for myself during nursing school and didn't make everything about school. Because my life got sucked into nursing school and I didn't make any time for myself. I didn't go out to eat. I didn't go out with my friends. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't do anything. So my sixth question is, are there any breaks between semesters or is it straight through? So we did get breaks during the semesters, in between the semesters, I should say. So if you start in the fall, so starting in August, you would go from August until mid-December-ish, maybe like second week of December. And then from the second week of December until the end of January. So let's say like December teen something, like 12th, 15th, something like that. Till end of January, like January 20 something, 30 something, into the beginning of February. That's when you would start your spring semester. You would get like a whole month and a half off. It was really nice. I'm not gonna lie, especially after that first semester where you're just like in shock about what just happened. It's really nice to get that big break so that you can go on vacation or you can just relax, because second semester hit me like a ton of bricks. After second semester, you only get like, I think 3 weeks off. I wanna say it was like 3 weeks because we ended in middle of May or something, and then we started again end of May. I don't remember. I lied. We got off school first week of May and went back to school the very last week of May. So maybe like a month-ish between second and third semester. I don't know what the schedule is gonna be like for you guys starting in the springtime. Another question that I get really often is, how long did I wait after graduation to take the NCLEX? And this one's a little bit hard for me to answer as well because of COVID time. So they were already telling us, like in 2020 when the pandemic first hit, they had a couple of their students from the previous cohort come on and say that they were still waiting for their attestation to test, which is your ATT, which basically gives you permission to take the NCLEX. They were waiting for like 2 or 3 months for this ATT to come in because of the pandemic time. Not a lot of people were working. So not a lot of people were processing applications to take the NCLEX. So by the time that 2021 hit, it was already like, I graduated in August. I did not get my ATT until the end of September, which sucked because I would have much rather have, for example, graduated. I graduated mid-August, have gone to Florida for the 2 weeks that I went to Florida for to go see family. And then when I came back, studied for like an extra 2 weeks, and then I would have taken the test. I would have been totally fine. But because I was waiting on that ATT, I decided, okay, I'll go to Florida, I'll come back, I'll kind of start studying a little bit. So I didn't start hardcore studying until after I got that ATT. So because I felt like there was such a huge gap between graduation day and the day that I got my ATT, I felt like I need more time to study. So I need 4 weeks to just like really drill into my studying. So that's what I did. I got my ATT end of September, studied all of October, and took my NCLEX on November 1st of 2021. My next question is, was the NCLEX hard and did I feel like I failed when I walked out? The answer is no. I did not feel like I failed when I walked out, and I'll tell you why. So while you're taking the NCLEX, you're incredibly nervous. But I felt like the questions were very easy in the beginning, or very like mid-level in the beginning. So I was like, okay, like this is pretty easy. And then the questions kind of kept getting increasingly harder. So when I know that that's how NCLEX works. So if you ever watch or listen to Mark Clemick's lecture, he'll tell you the same thing. The NCLEX is very much like a line. You have like over the pass line or under the pass line. So it'll start off with like mid-level questions, and then they'll get increasingly harder. But then if you get them wrong, they'll get increasingly easier. So I didn't feel like the questions were necessarily getting super easy. And my test shut off at 75 questions. So because the questions were harder questions and my test shut off at 75, I knew that I had passed. Because if the questions were really, really easy and it shut off in 75, I would be like, I don't know if I passed. It would have sucked. So I felt really good after the NCLEX. So I think you will too. Don't be nervous about the NCLEX. I think that my nursing school exams were way harder than the NCLEX. My next question was, did you think that Pace University prepared you for your job? And my short answer is, God, no. I talked about this in my TikTok Get Ready With Me when I was talking about how I became a nurse. I went into the operating room, which is like a different beast than what you learn in nursing school. And it's a different beast about questions that you're going to get on your NCLEX. You don't really get operating room NCLEX questions. So that's why they have like a whole separate like 6 month to 9 month training when you go to the operating room, is because of that. So unfortunately for me, when I had my Peri-Op 101 course, my professor for Peri-Op 101 had never worked a day in the operating room in her life. And that was increasingly frustrating because she was just reading off of the textbook or the PowerPoints that she was provided with from the school or from whoever wrote it, and then making these exams that had nothing to do with the operating room at all. I feel like my classmates would better answer these questions because most of, if not all of my classmates are on regular floors, like pediatric floors, ED, med-surg. But what I've heard over the course of them speaking with me, I've heard over TikTok and Instagram and YouTube about nurses talking about what it's like to get off of orientation, like as a new grad nurse on a regular floor. They tell me that nursing school paints a picture of everything is perfect. You have all the supplies that you need. Your patient is in X and Y condition, but there's not other things going on. Like family is kind of like not involved and things like that. Like, so there's like other factors that NCLEX will leave out, but that things are not so cookie cutter textbook when you get out into the real world. My next question is, what is my biggest pet peeve about the program? You guys, my biggest pet peeve with this program is their disorganization and their, lack of a better word, qualified professors to teach a certain subject, if that makes any sense. Like, I felt like, for example, my lady for peri-op, my professor for peri-op was never in the operating room. So she had to like branch out and find like these other nurses to come in and sort of teach us over Zoom how to be an OR nurse, which is, it's incredibly difficult. And she wasn't, or the people that were coming in to teach us were not the ones writing the exams. My next question is, how often were clinicals? So clinicals for me, I believe were between once, twice a week, depending on how the classes that you had. So like, for example, for semester 1, I think we had clinical for fundamentals and we had clinical for psych. And I think that's it. So because you only had like 2 clinical courses, like, or lecture courses that went along with a clinical, you had like only 2 clinicals during that time. But in semester 2, you're gonna have lots of clinical, like you're gonna have an OB clinical, pediatrics clinical, and a med-surg clinical. So you had 3. So then now you have 3 clinicals in the week along with like 5 lectures. So that's how much time you have for clinical. My last question that I got from you guys was, how many people, or did anyone fail out of my cohort or my semesters? And the answer is yes. Of course, we had people that didn't pass, and it sucks. It really does, because we put so much into these courses and into these programs, and because of their disorganization or their lack of a better word, unqualified professors at times, not all the time. Some of these professors are really good, but you'll get a few that are not. I can't like quantify how many of us failed out, because when people failed out of, for example, first semester and second semester, we would get new people from previous years that have failed and now have to retake the semester. So I can't quantify like how many of us failed, but I want to say after first semester, we lost about like maybe 3, 4 out of, I think, I want to say like 70 of us that started. I don't want you guys to leave this video with like a bitter taste of the program. It's not that the program is a terrible program. It's just like they need to work on things. Like everyone needs to work on things. You know what I mean? So please take everything that I said with a grain of salt. And my experiences are not the same as my classmates' experiences. It's not the same as my other previous year's experiences. So I want you guys to come out of this with a positive mind and study really, really hard and get through the program and just pass your NCLEX. That's all you need to do, is just pass. Worry about passing. Don't worry about getting straight A's. Don't worry about what am I going to do when I have to take the NCLEX. Don't worry about any of those things. Cross that bridge when it comes. And I wish you guys the best of luck during your nursing journeys. And I'm here to answer any questions for you. I have my Instagram and my TikTok linked down below. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.